It's time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, Prime Ticket presents the Dodgers as they take on the Cincinnati Reds. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Saturday night to you, wherever you may be. Game 3 of the 4-game series. Reds won the opener 5-2. Dodgers came back last night to win 2-1, which brings up a point. Last year, the Dodgers beat Cincinnati 4 of 6, and in 3 of the 4 Dodger victories, they held Cincinnati to 1 run. So obviously, pitching is the key. Tonight, Bronson Arroyo will be on the mound for the Reds. A couple of important notes about Arroyo. The big boy from Florida is 9-7. However, he has beaten the Dodgers 4 straight, and following a Cincinnati loss, he has 6 victories and no losses. For the Dodgers, they'll counter with Hyun-Jin Ryu with a record of 8-3. He has never faced the Cincinnati Reds in his young career. Dodgers still a half a game in front of Arizona. We'll watch that ball game. And the Reds 5 back at St. Louis. So pull up a chair. A good one coming up. We'll have the ball game and a whole lot more coming up right after this. Hyundai 100,000 Reasons event now through July 31st. By AT&T UVerse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PIC-ATT. And by Jack in the Box. Go big at a Jack in the Box near you with Jack's new Big Stack Burger.
Well, the Dodgers look to continue their winning ways, playing a .800 winning percentage baseball in their last 30 games. That'll get it done. It's the Reds, the Dodgers from Dodger Stadium with Steve Lyons and Patrick O'Neill. International showdown, Hyunjin Ryu, Shin-Soo Choo. Do you think there's some pressure on Ryu for this ball game?
Absolutely. He admitted it, too. If you were here for the pregame show, he said that this is a start that's twice as big as any start he's ever made in his life because of the international implications.
It's 10 a.m. in Korea, and everybody is watching tonight's game. Well, trying to get Ryu some run support, one guy that's locked in, hotter than any player in baseball is Hanley Ramirez.
You know, I've been around the game a long time, and certain names come to my mind when I look at Hanley Ramirez right now. Manny Ramirez, when he was so hot when he came here in 08, and Barry Bonds when he was hitting all his home runs in the early 2000s. When you look at the way he swings the bat, for a guy with a lot of movement, look at the bat waggle, the big leg kick, he doesn't get fooled very often. This is a pitch that's a breaking ball. It would be easy to be out in front. Look where he hits it. It's about shin high. Went down and got it and got through that ball and still elevated it out of the park. Most guys pull that foul. He's locked in.
It's been remarkable, and he's getting a lot of help from a lot of players. But, hey, we'll spotlight Hanley right now. But, there's going to be a lot of people watching this kid. Coming up next, Hyunjin Ryu takes him out for the Dodgers. Vince Scully has the call. We'll see you afterwards.
Good evening to you. Welcome to Dodger Stadium. It's the Dodgers and the Reds, and a salute to all of them down on the field who are going to sing out the special "It's Time for Dodger Baseball." All wounded veterans coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, and for them we're going to shut up a moment. They deserve that respect and a lot more.
It's time for Dodger Baseball!
God bless them indeed, and welcome home. Some of them without limbs, one, as you can see, in a wheelchair. Wow. Tough to follow that, believe me, with a child's game. But we shall, with a prayer for each and every one of them for the sacrifices that they have made. Normally, when we begin a ball game, we were going to give you the starting lineup. But there's something a little different, something ironic tonight that we ought to use the time for. In case you are not aware of it, today, July the 27th, 2013, is the 60th anniversary of the settling of the Korean War, a war that began in June of 1950 and ended on this day in 1953. It's war that they call the Forgotten War. Whether you know it or not, we lost over 33, almost 34,000 soldiers and Marines. And certainly one of the biggest bloody battles of the Korean War took place on the Pusan perimeter, the actual peninsula itself, and the city of Pusan. And who is from Pusan? Well, would you believe 2 South Koreans will go head-to-head today on that anniversary. Hyunjin Ryu is from Incheon in South Korea, and the name means, as we mentioned before, Ryu means willow tree. The first man he will face on this anniversary is another note of irony, and that would be Mr. Chu, Shin-Soo Chu. His name, Chu, means autumn, and it also means fall. They were recently interviewed on Korean television, and Ryu was asked the question, what are you going to throw at Chu when you two meet in the Major League game? And Ryu said, I will throw the ball behind Chu's back so he cannot hit it. And Chu said, thank you very much for not striking me out. I really appreciate your treatment. Well, Chu is going to come up in a moment. And the other thing about these two, they were roommates in Korea on the World Baseball Classic and also in the Asian Games. Chu is older than Ryu, and there is a custom in South Korea, and it applied to these two, and that would be that Ryu, being the younger, had to do the laundry for both of them. Oh, there they are, the roommates, one having done the other's laundry, and now for the first time, they'll go head-to-head, and believe it or not, on the anniversary, the 60th anniversary of the end of the Korean War. And in Pusan, by the way, that's one of the more horrific battles during the war, and we lost over 4,500 Marines and soldiers. But these are happier times, we hope, and so Ryu pitching to Chu on the anniversary. What a note of irony there. And here we go in the ball game. Hyun Young's first pitch. He misses on the corner for a strike as Chu just backed away. Hyunjin with a record of 8-3. No record against Cincinnati. First time he's ever faced them. He comes back in the dirt, and the count 1-1 strike. We told you that Ryu means willow tree. Chu means autumn or fall. So 1-1 strike. Ryu plants a left foot on the rubber. And the 1-1 pitch on the way outside, ball 2, 2-1. If you are planning to keep score on the game, we can duck in the batters for the Reds without hurrying them up. Chu will be followed by Chris Heisey in left field. The 2-1 pitch is high and in at the chin. So Shin-Soo Chu takes one at the chin, and Ryu is falling behind in the count. 3-1 strike. Game 3 of the 4-game series. In the last 10 series, the Dodgers have won 7 and split 3. 3-1 pitch on the way inside at the knuckles, and Chu draws the walk to begin the game. Take a look now at the lineup, and here are the way the Reds stack up, with Chu followed by Chris Heisey in left, Joey Votto at first, and Brandon Phillips at second base, Jay Bruce in right field, Todd Frazier at third, Devin Mesoraco the catcher, Zach Cozart at short, Bronson Arroyo the pitcher. So with Chu at first, Ryu now working on Chris Heisey. Chu takes a pretty good lead, and immediately Ryu throws over there. Mr. Chu, as he prefers to be called, has stolen 11, but he's been caught 8. Only been 2 attempts to run on Ryu this year. One successful, one not so. A bunt sharply to first. Gonzalez looks but has to make a tag, running the batter back towards home plate. So the sacrifice works. Chu at second base, and with 1 out, the batter will be Joey Votto. Let's take a look at the Dodgers with the leather. Gonzalez and Ellis, Ramirez, Uribe, Schumacher. They're resting Carl Crawford, fighting the flu or a temperature, whatever, so he's going to sit it down. Andre Ethier and Yasiel Puig, and A.J. Ellis behind the plate. So Heisey sacrifices, and here is Joey Votto. Votto, the heart and soul of the ball club, an all-star 4 straight years. leads the National League, and among other things, in walks, intentional walks, and batting average on the road. Joey hits one a hopper, speared nicely by Ramirez, who bounces it over to Gonzalez in time. So Votto losing a base hit on a nice play by Hanley. Taking third is Chu, and we have 2 down. Votto has the look on his face as if to say, where were you playing me to handle that one? Well, they were shading him up the middle, and they got him on that hard ground ball. So 2 out, and the batter, Brandon Phillips, as those on television see Hanley Ramirez make the whirling dervish play. Brandon Phillips, maybe as tough a hitter as there is in the big leagues with the bases loaded. The last time we checked in the last 2 years with the bases loaded, Brandon Phillips was hitting .800. Well, for the overall season, batting .263. Very tough hitter. Takes a strike. What makes him particularly tough, he doesn't strike out very much. He did strike out once last night, but he's had over 400 plate appearances, and he has only struck out 60 times. So a guy with 12 home runs, that makes him tough. Back comes Rio and gets the strike, so he jumps out in front of him. 0-2 to Brandon Phillips. Brandon, an all-star, 3rd time in the last 4 years, started this year. So Phillips, right-hand batter waiting. Ryu deals, and it's sprayed foul upstairs off first base. No balls and 2 strikes. It's a tough time to start a ball game. A good portion of center and right field very much in the sun. The infield and most of left field in the shade. The lights are on, but they really don't take any effect. Bright, brilliant blue sky overhead. Strike 2 pitch on the way to Brandon Phillips. Swung on, fouled away again. And to add the beautiful weather conditions, it is an extremely comfortable 74 degrees. So we're in the first inning. The Dodgers and Reds, game 3 of a 4-game series. Following tomorrow, the Reds will go to San Diego. The Dodgers will await the arrival of the Yankees. Strike 2 pitch on the way. Phillips takes outside, ball 1. When the Reds go home, they will open up their next homestand against the Cardinals, who lead the division and lead the Reds by 5. And the Cardinals have beaten Dusty's club 6 of 9 meetings this year. So that'll be a huge series. 1-2 the count to Brandon Phillips. Here comes Ryu, and it is fouled away. It was a pitch down and away, and Phillips showed you why he's so tough to strike out. He was able to lunge and at the last second get a little bit of it and fouled it off to the right. Phillips, with a runner at third, is 2 RBI shy of the National League lead in runs batted in. And no Red second baseman has ever led the league in that department. Next pitch, a roller to short. Cutting in front of Ramirez is Uribe, but Ramirez makes the play anyway. They almost had a collision, and that could have cost a run, but Hanley made the play. So no runs, a leadoff walk, and at the end of half an inning, Reds nothing, Dodgers coming up. Despite walking the leadoff man Chu. Now we'll take a look at the Dodger lineup penciled out by Don Mattingly. Skip Schumacher in left field for the ill Carl Crawford. Then you have Yasiel Puig in right. Adrian Gonzalez followed by Hanley Ramirez and Andre Ethier. A.J. Ellis the catcher. Juan Uribe at third. Mark Ellis at second. And Hyun-Jin Ryu on the mound. On the mound for Cincinnati, Bronson Arroyo. He's 6'4", 195. Arroyo signed by the Pirates in the third round way back in 1995. And his first pitch, a big breaking ball low and inside, ball one. Couple of notes. He has won 3 games already in the month of July. They give him 9 for the year. The 1-0 pitch, another slow curveball in for a strike. The thing about Arroyo, he gives the club a great lift. Following a Cincinnati defeat like last night, he has 6 wins and no losses. The pitch to Schumacher is fouled away, and the count 1-2. Schumacher, who was an outfielder, a lot of people think he's an infielder playing the outfield, but it's the other way around. He was a good outfielder, and he has so much talent. He learned to play the infield, and he has hit safely in the 7 starts that he has made of late. 1 home run, 19 runs batted in. Arroyo ready, and his 1-2 pitch on the way is swung on and hit in the air to left field. Heisey, however, is there to handle it, and just like that, 1 away.
Dodgers right fielder number 66.
Take a look at the Reds defensively, and they read Votto and Phillips, Cozart and Frazier, Heisey, Chu and Bruce, with Mesoraco behind the plate and Arroyo on the mound. Yasiel Puig checking in at the plate. Went to school last night, struck out 3 times and went 0 for 4. Had 2 base hits in the first game against Latos and robbed of a third by Joey Votto. So Yasiel hitting .370, takes a breaking ball, and we haven't seen anything but breaking balls. 1 ball and no strikes. No score, bottom of the first inning. Back comes Arroyo, big overhand breaking ball in for a strike. 1-1. So that was all that Schumacher got. And now Puig is tested, and the 1-1 pitch on the way. And that swung on and fouled off, so Puig with the count 1-2. Arroyo has a big leg kick, and actually his leg looks taller than he is when he sticks that thing in the air. It's a rather remarkable and distracting thing for a hitter. He'll turn, and his left leg points right at third base. And the 1-2 pitch on the way is a breaking ball off the plate, and the count 2-2. Bronson Arroyo, a pro since 1995, has won as many as 17 games in the big leagues. Fastball, there's the first one inside, 3-2. That fastball at 87. For the Reds in 2010, Arroyo had his career high. He was 17-10 that year. Here's the 3-2 pitch to Puig, and he takes low. Ball 4. Look out. You know, you're going to get a big reputation as a hot dog when you do that. Puig gets the walk and flips the bat high in the air. It landed on the grass about 10 feet out in front of home plate. This is not recommended. I mean, only hot dogs do that, and he'll hear about that as he takes ball 4. First thing usually you hear from a dugout, put a little mustard on that. So Puig draws the walk, flips the bat disdainfully, and that'll bring up Gonzalez. He has a lot to learn. Adrian waiting. Puig takes a conservative lead. Arroyo doesn't like it and throws over there anyway. For Yasiel Puig, he has stolen 6, but he doesn't know the moves of the pitchers. So he has stolen 6, but he's been caught 4. By the way, San Diego leading Arizona 5-1 in the 4th inning. Gonzalez drives one to right. Bruce going back in the shadow of the wall and makes the catch for the out. Puig tags on his way to second, and he's in there when the throw gets away. So a heads-up play by Puig. Bruce has a great arm, but he also caught that thing just about at the edge of the grass in the beginning of the track, and Puig is able to beat the throw. So Gonzalez, a fly ball to right. Puig is now at second, and the batter is Hanley Ramirez. There's the catch and the accurate throw, but Puig in there head first. Phillips just let it go by. So Yasiel moving to second base on the fly ball to deep right field. Now Hanley Ramirez, last night's hero with the 2-run home run, trying to pick him up. Hanley, with everything else, has hit in 8 straight. Arroyo out of his stretch. First pitch, and that's a little low. Ball 1. 1-0. No score. Bottom of the first inning. Hanley hitting .387. 11 home runs. 33 runs batted in. He's also hitting .333 against Arroyo. 7 hits and a home run. Bronson out of his stretch. A look back at Puig. And the right-hander deals, and the fastball in there. 1-1. You would think it would be wiser at this time of day where the lights don't take effect, where the infield is in complete shade, that you'd rely more on the fastball than anything else. But Arroyo started off throwing a lot of slow curveballs. 1 ball and 1 strike. Arroyo delivers, whips a fastball in there. Not that he's overpowering, the high 80s. Of course, after looking at somebody like Homer Bailey throwing 97, it's a little different. Bronson looks down to get a sign. Puig conservative lead. Brandon Phillips trying to hold him on at second base. And he's going to third. The pitch is low, dropped by the catcher, and Puig has stolen third. The wild horse, the big black stallion, running wild here in the first inning. He had a good jump, and there was no play for Mazzaraco. So Puig is now at third with his 7th stolen base. Immediately we look up Bronson Arroyo. He has only 1 wild pitch. 2-2 the count to Hanley Ramirez. Arroyo ready, delivers, breaking ball down and away. Ball 3. Looked like not much of a slider, just kind of a showcase pitch. 3-2 to Hanley with Andre Ethier on deck. Arroyo with Puig standing at the bag at third. Bronson ready, and the 3-2 pitch swung on and fouled off. 3-2. So Ramirez, a healthy Ramirez. The Dodgers shudder over the thought of losing him for any amount of time. Don Mattingly, hands folded, almost in prayer, watching Ramirez. 3-2 the count. 2 down, first inning, no score. Puig down the line from third. Arroyo delivers, curveball, and it's whacked into right center. Base hit. Over to pick it up is Chu. Hanley's on his way for 2. He is in there with a double. And the Dodgers lead 1-0. Last night, Hanley Ramirez hit a good curveball that was down. This was a high curveball that hung, and Hanley whacks it into right center. Not only does he beat Chu by taking the extra base, but Puig, who is running wild, brings the run in. So the Dodgers jump out in front, 1-0 in the first inning. One reason, I guess, that Arroyo is throwing so many breaking balls, they describe his fastball as average. Well, he's won 9 games with a so-called average fastball, and Yasiel Puig brings in the run, and Hanley now at second. Andre Ethier takes low, ball 1. Andre Ethier hitting .294 against Arroyo, 10 hits and a home run. After being so hot in Toronto, where he had 8 hits, Andre has cooled off so far against Cincinnati, 0 for 7 in the series. 1 ball and no strikes. Here in the inning, with one out, Puig walked. Gonzalez fly ball to deep right. Puig tagged and took second. Then he stole third and came home on the double. Right now, Hanley Ramirez hoping to get picked up as Ethier takes very high, and they count 2 balls and no strikes. Dodgers, of course, have something to settle with Arroyo. He has beaten them 4 straight times in his career, 2 and 3 here in this ballpark. So Arroyo looks in to get a sign from Mesoraco, and the 2-0 pitch on the way. Arroyo very deliberate, over the top, off speed pitch away. That was only 67 miles an hour. So he's throwing a lot of slow breaking balls. That high curve by Hanley Ramirez. His average fastball, as they call it. He has that sidearm curveball, a slider, a cutter, and a change. Throws the change to left-handers. And the fastball is too low, ball 4. So Arroyo struggling a little bit as he walks Ethier. 2 walks, a run in. And for Dusty Baker working on that toothpick. Boy, we tried for years trying to get Dusty to give up the toothpick. The other 2 players I remember very well playing with a toothpick. Jimmy Wynn, who played for the Dodgers in Houston, and also a pitcher named Sad Sam Jones. He would pitch while chewing on a toothpick. Amazing. 2 down, and here is A.J. Ellis. Right hand hitting catcher, takes inside, ball 1, 1-0. So Arroyo struggling a little bit here in the first inning, but he's still only given up 1 run. 2 on, 2 out, 1-0 Dodgers, first inning. Arroyo set, looks down to Mesoraco. Now the right-hander deals, fastball in for a strike. Fastball at 87. He doesn't get it much more than that. Occasionally they say he's been locked around 90 to 91, but not yet. 1 ball and 1 strike to Ellis. Ramirez at second, Ethier at first, and the next pitch is low. So Arroyo behind on his hitters, 2 balls and 1 strike. Among other things, Arroyo is very talented with the guitar. I mean, some fellas play it, but they say he plays it exceptionally well. 2-1. The pitch to A.J. Ellis, check swing on a breaking ball strike, and the count 2-2. Bronson Arroyo had a lot of breaks as a kid. His father, Gus, began training him to be a pro baseball player when he first started playing T-ball. Here's the 2-2 pitch on the way, and that's inside, ball 3. So the Dodgers get a slight offensive break. The runners, Hanley Ramirez going from second, Andre Ethier from first, and Juan Uribe on deck. 3-2 the count. Ellis waiting. Dodgers lead 1-0. Just starting. Arroyo set. Runners poised and ready. Runners go. Pitch is swung on. Ground ball to Votto wide of first. He feeds Arroyo coming over, and that's that. So the Dodgers get 1 run, 1 hit, 2 walks, lead 2, and at the end of an inning, Dodgers 1, Reds 0. For the Dodgers, Hanley's double driving in Puig. Dodgers take a 1-0 lead. Hanley is hitting 9 straight. Also, pretty good news for the Dodgers. The fact San Diego is leading Arizona 8-1 in the 4th inning. Dusty Baker taking in the action, and as a manager, he's right behind Jim Leyland. 1,640 for Johnny Lee, the Raid from Riverside. Baker played in the big leagues from 1968 to 86. Originally signed by the Braves. Ryu's first pitch is high to Jay Bruce. 1 ball and no strikes. Williams had fun with Dusty Baker because he grew up in Riverside on Park Avenue. That was his address. The pitch is high, ball 2. And we used to say, Dusty, you had a wealthy background, born and raised on Park Avenue. I said, that wasn't the same Park Avenue. Terrific guy. The 2-0 pitch on the way, swung on, and Bruce hammers it to right, and all Puig can do is watch that go into the seats. So Jay Bruce hurries one into the right field pavilion, and just like that, a 1-1 tie. For Bruce, his second home run in the series. You may remember he had a 70-mile-an-hour change curve, and he hit that one in the left center field pavilion. So Jay Bruce drives it out, his 22nd home run. Boy, what a sweet swing he has. It's the 11th home run given up by Ryu, and we have a 1-1 tie. No doubt about it. So now Todd Frazier coming up. Frazier with a strike and the count 0-1. We told the story Thursday night about the game the Reds played. The bat boy was a victim of Down syndrome, 30 years old, named Teddy Kemmer. And in the course of the game, Todd Frazier came up to bat, and Kemmerer said, come on, hit me a home run. I love you. And Frazier said, I love you too, Teddy, and probably hit a home run. Ground ball to Ramirez, who throws him out. The picture of Teddy Kemmer, pure ecstasy. He was so excited over Todd's home run. And then both of them throwing their arms around each other. It is a marvelous scene. So we've told you, we don't know if we can show you the film, the clip, the videotape. We will try tonight and or tomorrow, maybe even both. It's such a beautiful moment. Nice guy, Todd Frazier. One away, Devin Mesoraco, the catcher. First round pick, looks at a breaking ball strike, and the count 0-1. On deck, Zach Cozart, the shortstop. They think great deal of Mesoraco's talents. He swings, doesn't get it. 0-2. Devin has had 4 multi-hit games. On the road trip, 9 for 21. And the strike 2 pitch just low, ball 1. So the Dodgers and Reds tied up 1-1, second inning. Dodgers scrambled on a walk and a double by Ramirez. One swing of the bat by Jay Bruce got him even. Slow ground ball, catcher running but young, so he runs hard. Ramirez takes care of it anyway, and we have 2 down.
Batting next, shortstop number 2.
That'll bring up Zach Cozart, who's a little bit banged up. Cozart has a bruised leg from foul balls. He's wearing a guard on the left leg, but he also has a painful hip. Good looking player, playing hurt. Cesar Izturis played the first game and played very, very well. Cozart takes a strike, no balls and 1 strike. Cesar sitting right directly behind the bench and the bar that's guarding the dugout, so you couldn't see Cesar's face, but trust me, he's there. Had some great years with the Dodgers, and glad to see he's. In fact, Dusty Baker said he's very happy for Izturis. He didn't think Cesar would make the team in spring training. That's a better shot of him now. So he has made the team, and he's done well spelling Cozart. 1-2 the count to the Cincinnati shortstop, and the pitch just off the plate. 2-2 the count. The crew chief, the veteran umpire, Ted Barrett, behind the plate. Barrett, 17 years in the big leagues, lives in Arizona. He's from the state of Washington. 2-2 pitch on the way, and that's off the plate. So 3-2 the count to Zach Cozart. This game is being televised back to South Korea, as you can well imagine, with Chu and Ryu in the game and facing each other. Whoops! Cozart thought it was ball 4. Instead, it's strike 3, and the inning is over. By the way, the game began here at 6:10. It was 10:10 in the morning in Seoul, Korea. And we're locked in at 1. The ball game is being televised back to Seoul, Korea, and also on radio. For those of you on radio, we're showing the picture of the main play-by-play broadcaster doing the telecast back to Seoul, Korea. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. The first part is H-E-O, and then the next part is K-O-O, and the next part is Y-O-U-N. Hyoku-Youn, maybe. Anyway, they're with NBC Korea and going all throughout South Korea. One of the big 3 television network stations over there. Meanwhile, here in the second inning, Juan Uribe, followed by Mark Ellis, and then Ryu. Bronson Arroyo ready and deals, and he's hammered. A line drive single to center by Uribe. So the Dodgers' second hit, going with Hanley Ramirez double. And that will bring up Mark Ellis with an 8-game hitting streak, and Ellis taking a long look at Tim Wallach before checking in. Ellis batting 8th, and then Ryu hitting 9th in the lineup. Arroyo, who gave up 2 walks and a double in the first inning, pitching out of a stretch again. Comes to the hitter, fastball low and inside, ball 1, 1-0. Again, all of his fastballs have been at 87. None less, none more. Bronson Arroyo, 36 years old in February. Been a pro since 1995. Throw to first, Uribe back on the bag. Bronson Arroyo has given up the most home runs of any Cincinnati starter, 17. The 1-0 pitch is a big hopper down to Phillips. He feeds Cozart and he flips it to first. Ellis was victimized by the mound. He hit the ball very hard, but the mound took all the steam out of it, and it went right to Brandon Phillips. So quickly, 2 down, and Ryu coming up. Don't forget, you can become a Dodger mini plan holder with a 10-game flex plan. You can pick and choose the games you want. Choose from bobblehead nights, rivalry matchups, even your preferred day of the week. Arroyo ready and deals, breaking ball away, ball 1. For more information, visit Dodgers.com/mini-plan or just simply call 323-DODGERS. Ryu backs off and another breaking ball away. 2-0 the count. Hyun-jin, pretty good hitter, batting .222. He has 8 hits. Takes a look at his strike. He has 4 runs batted in. Strikes out almost half the time, not quite, but again, the cameras are on him. A big swing and a high fly ball up into that powder blue. Icy, the left fielder, will make the catch, and that will be that. So a leadoff single, but down the drain, and at the end of 2, it's the Reds 1 and the Dodgers 1. And it will be Bronson Arroyo, followed by Shin-Soo Choo, and then Chris Heisey. A note while we have a chance, Shin-Soo Choo is one of 2 South Korean players ever to hit a home run off a South Korean pitcher. The other player was Hee-Sop Choi with the Dodgers. They both homered off Jae-So. Oh, just a little extra note about Korean players. Choo is quite a player. I mean, among other things, he was the only player in the majors, along with Ian Kinsler, to have 40 doubles, 15 home runs, and 20 steals. And he joined Roberto Alomar and Grady Sizemore, only players in Indians history to reach those stats in a single season. He gets hit a lot by pitches, so we will see. He got away from one dealt by Ryu in his first at bat. Meanwhile, Bronson Arroyo at 6'4", crowds the plate, hangs over it, and takes a strike. 0-1. Arroyo, after a 28-pitch first inning, made only 8 pitches in the second inning. Slow breaking ball misses. Arroyo tentatively pitching. He had a first pitch strike to only 1 of 9 hitters. He waves at a pitch, and the count 1-2. Arroyo is hitting less than 100. He does have 3 hits and strikes out about a third of the time. 1-2 pitch on the way. He has a look and it's low. 2-2 the count. Now the 2-2 pitch swung on and foul back. 2-2. With the pitcher at the plate and Chu a most interesting player in the on deck circle. We could talk a little bit about Chu while Bronson's up there. Chu has had Tommy John surgery. He was a pitcher. 2-2 pitch fouled away. In fact, when he was 18 years old, the Mariners, the Seattle Mariners Pacific Rim operator director, called him the best amateur pitcher in the world. So he can play. Arroyo strikes out, and we have one down. So here comes Ryu to face Chu a second time. He walked him in the first inning. And I just can't get over the fact that they're going head to head on the 60th anniversary of the end of the Korean War. I mean, it is just remarkable that they're brought together of all days today. Ryu ready to work to him. Breaking ball way off the plate and low. 1 ball and 1 strike. They said when Chu was pitching, he could actually throw 95 miles an hour. 1-0 pitch is swung on. Ground ball up along first. Up with it is Gonzalez. Takes it to the bag. So Chu grounding out. And we have 2 down here in the third. And Chris Heisey coming up.
Batting next, left fielder Chris Heisey.
Heisey sacrificed in the first inning. A tip-off that Dusty Baker felt it was going to be a low-scoring battle. Well, it's 1-1, and we're in the top of the third inning. Tomorrow, the concluding game of the series. There are seats available for tomorrow's game. Dusty will send Tony Cingrano to the mound, and the Dodgers will counter with Chris Capuano. Ryu ready, drops a breaking ball low. 1 ball and no strikes to Heisey. Chris has had a tough series. He was dropped in as a pinch hitter in game 1, struck out, stayed in the game, and struck out again. Last night he struck out twice, but he did have a double, so he went 1 for 4. Sacrificed in the first inning. On deck is Joey Votto. The 1-0 pitch on the way, fouled away off to the right. So Heisey has a very important role, especially with 2 out, trying to get aboard to get Votto up there. 0-2 the count to Chris Heisey. Heisey from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, lives in Mechanicsburg. 1-0 pitch on the way. Chris swings, pops it foul off to the right out of play. 1-2. When you asked Heisey about his childhood, he said, I remember in the backyard I had a giant orange wiffle ball bat. It was at least 5 inches in circumference. And my mom and dad had tossed me a wiffle ball in the backyard. And that's how it all started. And here he is. The pitch to Chris off the plate. He was originally drafted by the Mariners. Check me on that. The Red. Heisey, Heisey, with Votto on deck. Fastball, that's hit in the air to deep center. Back goes Ethier to the track at the wall. Reaches out. Can't make the play. It bounces off the wall. Retrieved by the left fielder Schumacher. And by that time, Heisey's at third. So Ethier going back on a ball hit over his head. Couldn't make the play. And it's a 2-out triple to bring up Heisey. So he has 2 hits in the series, a double and a triple. Going back all the way was Ethier. The difference, I think, with Ethier, he was going back and always looking for the ball. Most really good center fielders will turn, run with their back to home plate, and then turn around. But Ethier went back, constantly trying to look at the ball. Didn't work. It's a triple for Heisey. And now here's Votto. Joey fouls it away, and the count 0-1. Ethier, let it be said, a right fielder, has done a wonderful job playing center field. But on that ball, he did look more like a right fielder. Meanwhile, Matt Kemp looks on. 0-1 to count to Joey Votto. We have a 1-1 tie in the third inning. Ryu set. Hyun-Jin ready and delivers, and it's fouled away again. And the count 0-2. For Ryu, as we always do with a runner at third, he has 4 wild pitches. So there's a lot of pressure on A.J. Ellis. Nowhere to really put Votto because you have another tough hitter, Brandon Phillips, hitting right behind him. Oh, and 2. Here comes Ryu. It is swung on, hit down the line, left field line, foul. Still 0-2. Dodgers got a run in the first inning. Puig walked and Ramirez doubled him home after Yaciel tagged up and went to second on a fly ball, stole third. Hanley picked him up. But then Jay Bruce came up to lead off the second, hit one in the right field pavilion, and we're 1-1. Strike 2 pitch on the way. Votto takes strike 3 call. Joey says yep to the plate umpire Barrett and walks away. Dodgers dodge a bullet, and it's still 1-1. And Yankees Tuesday and Wednesday night. Individual tickets for those games now on sale. So don't miss your chance to see the boys in blue and the Bronx Bombers. Buy your tickets at Dodgers.com/tickets. Skip Schumacher will start it off here in the third inning. He flied to left field first at bat. Skip takes inside, ball 1. Today was the beginning of the Hall of Fame weekend. On Sunday, the players are inducted. And the next pitch in for a strike. Today, the broadcaster and sports writer, Tom Cheek of Toronto, the late Tom Cheek, the broadcaster, Paul Hagen, the fine Philadelphia writer, he's brought into the broadcasters and sports writers wing. And there was also a gentleman honored today for whom we have tremendous respect, admiration, and love, and that would be Dr. Frank Jobe. The pitch on the outside corner for a strike. Frank Jobe not entering the Hall of Fame, but honored for his remarkable contributions. How many pitchers have had their careers saved? How many yet to come? Meanwhile, Schumacher hits one just fouled outside of first down the line, and the count 2-2. So Dr. Frank Jobe, who invented the Tommy John surgery, after the talented left-hander, who won more games, by the way, after the surgery than before. It should really be the Frank Jobe operation, but it will always be thought of as the Tommy John surgery. 2-2 pitch. Skipper swings, comes up empty. Down he goes. The Schumacher strikes out, one away. So anyway, what a lovely moment for a lovely man, Dr. Frank Jobe. Here comes Yasiel Puig, doing exceptionally well at home, maybe spurred on by the crowd, hitting .438 at Dodger Stadium. He walked, took second on the fly ball to right field, stole third, and then walked home on the double by Ramirez. Takes a big slow curveball, but it's high, ball one. When Puig stole third, he got his name up there with Everett Cabrera, Rajai Davis, Jacoby Ellsbury, Juan Pierre. They have 6 steals of third this year. He takes low, ball 2, 2-0. Puig in stealing third is 1 for 3. Matt Kemp, Luis Cruz, D. Gordon, and Carl Crawford have all stolen third, and he probably bangs it into left field for a long single. Heisey retreats to take the steam out of the base hit and then gets it back in. So Puig with a walk and a single, and the batter will be Adrian Gonzalez. So Puig a bullet into left. 1-1 tie. Adrian Gonzalez for the Dodgers, their third hit in this 1-1 tie. And of course, having stolen third, they have to keep an eye on Puig if he's thinking about trying to steal second. Puig is 7 out of 11 in stolen base attempts. So Adrian waiting at the plate. Arroyo set at the belt. There goes Puig. Then he stops. A throw down to first. And not only did he just get back, Votto made a fine play, or that ball was going into right field. So Mesoraco hurried his throw. Puig was going in the wrong direction, and Votto made a big play. He makes a lot of them in the course of a year. So there's the bluff. The throw had to be backhanded by Votto. So they know all about Puig. Indeed. 0-1 to Adrian Gonzalez. Bronson Arroyo turns, throws to first. Puig back on the bag. Dodgers won, Reds won, third inning. Dodgers won last night 2-1. And we pointed out earlier their 4 victories against Cincinnati last year. 3 of them Reds scored but what's run. Just 1. The next pitch to Gonzalez misses. That balances things up. 1 ball and 1 strike. Arroyo has made 47 pitches, 28 in the first inning. And then last inning made only 8. Puig takes a short lead. Bronson set at the belt, looks over his left shoulder, turns and decides to throw over there, and Puig is back standing up. One run, 2 hits for the Reds. Their run came in a home run. Dodgers 1 run, 3 hits. The big hit was Ramirez double. Another throw to first, and Puig back to the bag. So the Dodgers with Puig doing a little extra running. Arroyo very conscious of him. And the 1-1 pitch way off the plate, ball 2, 2-1. So Bronson Arroyo, who is 6-0 following a Cincinnati defeat, and of course they lost last night, so they look to him now to try and turn things around. 2-1 the count to Adrian Gonzalez, who flied out deep to right in the first inning. The next pitch is swung on and lifted high into the air in shallow right center. A trio of Reds. Chu, the center fielder, makes the catch, and Puig has nowhere to go. 2 out, and Hanley Ramirez coming up.
Hanley Ramirez.
Ramirez last night got a breaking ball that looked like it might have been a little bit below his knees, and he hit it into the pavilion. Then in the first inning tonight, he got a breaking ball up. It might have been up around the letters, and he promptly doubled into right center. He has been blazing hot since the 1st of June, and Yasiel Puig right back on him. So 1-1. Puig at first. Brandon Phillips plays up the middle, and the ball fouled away. 0-1. So the left side of the infield is deep. Cozart is on the rim. Frazier's guarding the foul line, but Brandon Phillips wandering around right out almost directly behind second base. In fact, sometimes he moves towards the bag just as the pitch is made. So Hanley waiting. 0-1 the count. Arroyo very deliberate, checking Puig, who bluffs on a pitch out. 1 ball, 1 strike. So the Reds guessed, but guessed wrong. Little tough to call pitch outs with a pitcher who walked 2 in the first inning. 1 ball and 1 strike. Arroyo again conscious of Puig while working on Ramirez. Bronson ready. Here he comes, and it is swung on and hit foul off to the right out of play. And the count 1-2 to Hanley Ramirez. Hanley with that double, so he's picked up a couple of points. He's now hitting .390. 1-1 tie, bottom of the 3rd. Game 3 of the 4-game series, Cingrani and Capuano tomorrow. And there are seats for that game tomorrow. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Arroyo very deliberate. There goes Puig, and the pitch is bounced to third. Up with it is Frazier, makes the throw, and that's the inning. No runs, 1 hit, man left, and at the end of 3, a 1-1 tie. The fact that Frank Jobe was honored today at Cooperstown in the Hall of Fame. Here's a snippet of the ceremony itself.
We did a little bit of surgery for him, but the man himself did all the hard work. And his unique intelligence enabled us to develop a rehab program that has stood the test of time.
And there are so many who are so thankful that it has. Brandon Phillips, a strike typical of Dr. Jobe, who came up with that revolutionary surgery, saying we did a little bit of surgery for him. And then deferring all the grace and honor to Tommy John. Here's Brandon Phillips. Had a 7-pitch at bat, grounded out in the first inning. And we have a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Phillips, an all-star for the 3rd time in 4 seasons. First time starter. And ahead in the count now, 2 balls and 1 strike. Hyun-Jin Ryu trying for his 9th win. He is 4-1 here at Dodger Stadium. And Brandon way out in front of an off-speed pitch that came up there at 83. He was guessing fastball. 2-2. We told you San Diego was pounding Arizona, so the Dodgers have a chance to increase their lead to a 1.5 games, but standing in their way, a very good club. Fouled away. They are in the 6th inning in Arizona. San Diego leads 9-3. Goldschmidt hit a 2-run home run to give him 85 RBIs, 4 more than Brandon Phillips. Andrew Kashner came back to hit his first major league home run for San Diego. 9-3 Padres, 6th inning. 2-2. And a fly ball. Calling for it is Andre Ethier. 1 away. The miracle that was Tommy John. The numbers are one thing, but in remembering Tommy when he was with the Dodgers, and I used to see him, we'd be in the Astrodome. He had already had the arm surgery, and he would be running every day endlessly all alone around the ballpark, and you kind of felt sorry for him. You thought, he's trying so hard, but what are the chances of coming back from such a serious arm surgery? And I remember asking Frank Job, Frank, how did the surgery go? And he said, well, I'm not sure. I've never done it before. And that's what he had told Tommy John. That's ball 3. He told Tommy, if you don't have the surgery, you will never pitch in the big leagues. Tommy said, what about if I have the surgery? Frank said, the chances are you will never pitch in the big leagues. One and 2 the count. Jay Bruce homered in the 2nd inning. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1 out, 4th inning, 1-1 tie. Two and 2. Bruce with 2 home runs in the series, 1 to the left center field seats, and tonight in right field. Marvelous young player. He's going to have a great career. Now back. A lot expected from Jay Bruce. After all, he was a 1st-round pick. He has a 7-game hitting streak. Two balls, 2 strikes. Fouled away. Some fellas take a little bit longer to develop. That was the word on Bruce. He's a wonderful player. Just give him a little time. Well, he's had the time, and he's just about there. He came up to the Reds in 2008. Just off the plate. He had 22 home runs in 09, 21 the year before. Then he really got hot. 25 home runs, 32 home runs, 34 home runs, and he is 22 right now. Out of Beaumont, Texas. 3-2. So Bruce becomes strikeout victim number 4 for Hyun-Jin Ryu, and the batter will be Todd Frazier. I don't know Here's Frazier. What do you think, Christian? Do we show the tape or don't? About Teddy Kemmer. Kemmer was the young man with Down syndrome. We told a story a little while ago about Todd hitting the home run. If we get a foul ball, we will show you a precious bit of videotape. 0-1. And 0-2. Well, now we're in a little trouble. We're going to try, though, even if he's called out, maybe we can duck it in. It's really worth watching. Good. Foul ball. Here it is. Todd Frazier hits a home run. Center field seats. There is Ted Kemmer, 30 years old. Down syndrome. Now he says, whoa, wait a minute. You got to get the bat. You're the bat boy. Go get it, Ted. And he gets the bat and then goes back into the dugout. And when he goes back in the dugout, Frazier's there with a grin from ear to ear, and they hug again. It was just such a beautiful sight. Wow. Oh, I'm glad we could show you that. All right, Todd, you're on your own up there. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Thanks for cooperating. Little chopper, long throw from Hanley in the dirt. Nice pick by Adrian. So down go the Reds, 1-2-3, and we're heading for the bottom of the 4th inning in a 1-1 tie. By Farmer Boys. Get an award-winning Farmer's Burger topped with farm fresh veggies, cheese, bacon, and avocado. By Chase. Manage your account on the go whenever and wherever you want. The Chase mobile app. So you can. And by 76. We're on the driver's side. Beautiful evening, a 1-1 tie. All they talked about after last night's game, both dugouts, both dressing rooms, that it was like a playoff game. Well, the same atmosphere now. 1-1, bottom of the 4th. Ethier, Ellis, and Uribe. Clayton Kershaw, another tremendous effort last night. Hard to believe that Clayton could improve on his earned run average, but he did. Remember last night his earned run average was 2.01. It's now 1.96. Amazing. 0-1 to Andre, who walked in the first inning. Foul ball. 0-2. You get the feeling that Bronson Arroyo is settling in now. Ethier has made a remarkable turnaround. Look at those numbers. Oh, and 2 to Andre. 7 home runs, 36 runs batted in. Fouled away again. Interesting that Ethier was late on a changeup. Fouled it off to the left, and that change came up there at 75 miles an hour. And then he gets the fastball off the plate from 75 to 87, and that's really been it. We have not seen Bronson Arroyo go higher than 87 on the gun. 1 and 2. And now this time, after going away, he comes in down and in at the ankles. 2 and 2. Arroyo's been in the big league since 2000 with Pittsburgh, the Red Sox, and he's been with the Reds now for 8 seasons. And he goes 3 and 2. He walked 2 in the first inning. He has 1 strikeout. And he goes all the way, waiting on deck behind Ethier, A.J. Ellis. 3 and 2. Fouled away. We are talking about Arroyo and his father, Gus. His father was so serious about training him that in their backyard there was a pitching mound, a batting cage, and a weight room for a little kid to start him off in the right direction. Ground ball, Votto, and he'll do it himself. So 1 away here in the 4th inning. And the batter, A.J. Ellis. Well, time now for our Twitter poll question. Do you think we'll see a major league team outside of the United States and Canada? Wow. Well, tweet hashtag MLB yes or hashtag MLB no. Keep tuning in. We'll give the results later. In other words, do you think there'll be a major league team in Mexico? Do you think with jet flying there'll be a major league team in England, Italy, Germany, France? South Korea, of course, has produced some players, and they play a lot there. And Japan plays a lot of serious baseball. So what do you think? I mean, look at the way things are going. Dodgers played some exhibitions a couple of years ago in Beijing, China. They're going to open up next year in Australia. Right. Yeah, they're going to play Arizona. 2 meaningful games in Australia. 1 and 2. That sidearm fastball got that to 88. So that's the hardest he's thrown so far. Bronson, born in Key West, Florida, lives in Brooksville. Little ground ball wide at third. Frazier. 2 down. So Arroyo had a little trouble in the first inning, but he has settled down nicely. That happens a lot to visiting pitchers. They come to a ballpark and they're not quite at home on the mound. You might think it's a little thing, but it bothers some a great deal. It takes him an inning or 2 to get accustomed to it. First ball hitting as he did last time, only this time he hits it right at Heisey. So Uribe is 1 for 2, hitting both balls hard. And at the end of 4, a 1-1 tie.
All right, Dr. Paris, it's time for Kiss Cam.
10. Monday an off day. The Yankees are here Tuesday and Wednesday. Then the Dodgers will go out starting the 1st of August. They play 4 in Chicago with the Cubs, and then 4 more with a very tough team, the St. Louis Cardinals. And then they'll come home to play Tampa Bay and the New York Mets. Meanwhile, they're up to their hips with a very, very tough ball player right now. Mesoraco, Cozart, and Arroyo, the Cincinnati Reds. And that's going to go foul. 0-1 the count to Devon. No balls and 1 strike. Dodgers have seen the Cardinals for just 3 games, and they've lost 2 out of 3. The Reds have lost 6 out of 9 to St. Louis. Dodgers have not played the Cubs yet. Dodgers coming into this game a half a game in front of Arizona, and Arizona is losing badly. 9-3 the last we checked. Ground ball sharply. Hanley is there. Nice stretch by Adrian. Run away. Wow, how many assists? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 assists already for Hanley Ramirez. So Ryu has them killing worms out toward shortstop. Dodgers have played 102 games. 60 left in the season, including tonight. Ball 1. That's in there for a strike. 1-1. By the way, mentioning the Yankees as we did, the pitching for the Dodgers in the Yankee series, Zach Greinke will pitch Tuesday. Clayton Kershaw will pitch Wednesday. Then it looks like Ricky Nolasco will open up in Chicago. Zach Cozart struck out in the 2nd inning. 1-2. 2-2. If you joined us a little late, Hanley Ramirez doubled in Yasiel Puig in the 1st inning. Jay Bruce homered leading off the 2nd inning, and that's it. 1-1. 1 out in the 5th. Got a little bit of that. Still 2-2. And of course, adding tremendous interest to the game on the 60th anniversary of the end of the Korean War. You have 2 young fellows from South Korea, Hyunjin Ryu and Shin-Sun Chu. 3-2. On deck, Bronson Arroyo. And down goes Cozart, way out in front of that off-speed pitch. 5 strikeouts for Ryu. 2 out. And the batter will be Arroyo, who struck out in the 3rd inning.
Bronson Arroyo.
We mentioned Bronson Arroyo plays the acoustic guitar. What's marvelous about it, they say he knows, without looking at sheet music, he knows how to play 150 songs. From country to you know what. They say he has a voice like Eddie Vedder. Well, he's pretty popular. No balls, 2 strikes. Boy, that fastball got away. Boy, Arroyo really hangs over the plate. Two and two. What a contrast. Yasiel Puig way off the plate. And then you have a pitcher battling up there as if to say, I own the inside part of the plate. Totally different from Puig. However, down goes Bronson. 6 strikeouts. And that's 7 in a row retired by Ryu. And we're heading to the bottom of the 5th, 1-1. Dodger Baseball on Prime Ticket is brought to you by AT&T. Rethink possible. By your Southern California Toyota dealers. And by CarMax. Start the search for your next car at CarMax. Well, we got another tough one going here tonight. Young and old, highly spirited. A beautiful evening. It was 74 degrees when the game started. And as usual, the Reds and the Dodgers, it's push against shove. A 1-1 tie, bottom of the 5th inning. Mark Ellis, then Ryu, and then Schumacher in that order. Mark Ellis hit the ball hard. It hit the side of the mound. That took all the steam off it. It went right to Brandon Phillips, who turned it into a double play. So Bronson Arroyo in a tough 1-1 tie. Slow breaking ball, missing ball 1. We mentioned earlier that Arroyo, and of course he pitches in Great American Park. They tell me that's really a hitter's park. He leads the Reds in home runs allowed, 17 in there. Well, he joins his name with Robin Roberts. They're the only pitchers in Major League history to allow at least 40 home runs while issuing less than 50 walks. 1 and 2. In 2011, Arroyo allowed 46 home runs, but he only walked 45. Roberts allowed 46 one year and walked only 40. Another year, Roberts gave up 40 home runs and walked 43. Meanwhile, line drive base hit for Mark Ellis. So the Dodgers get a runner aboard, and here comes Ryu in what you would think is a sacrifice situation. Ellis just straightens one out, lines a single. Ryu has 3 sacrifices. Arroyo could take any pitcher to school on how to bunt. Bronson Arroyo has 10 sacrifices. Ryu shows bunt. Creeping in is Frazier. The bunt goes to first. Bono looks at second and then throws to Phillips. So Ryu does the job, gets the bunt out. And boy, that's not easy when the third baseman is breathing right down on top of you and he was still able to manage the bunt to go up along first. Nice play by Hyun-Jin Ryu, and he gets applause from the skipper. Take a look. Look at Frazier, and somehow he angled it up close Votto. So nice play by Ryu. Now Schumacher and Puig trying to pick up Ellis. 1-1, bottom of the 5th. Dodgers have a chance, apparently, the way San Diego is going. They have a chance to increase their lead to a game and a half over Arizona, but they have to win. Playing a very, very good Cincinnati ball club. San Diego is leading Arizona 9-3, and they're in the top of the 8th inning. 1 ball and no strikes. Pickoff play. Had it been a lower throw, I think they might have gotten it. Bronson's throw was off target as far as trying to make a quick tag. High. By the time he brought it down, no play. 1 ball and no strikes. High fly ball to dead center, going back onto his shoe to the track at the wall, gone. There's the home run that has haunted Bronson Arroyo. Skip Schumacher hits his 2nd home run of the year. That shy grin on his face, but he is bursting with joy, and so is his ball club. Skip just took him straight away. Chu, like the good center fielder, just turned his back and went all the way to the wall, but never had a chance as it cleared the barrier, and the Dodgers take a 3-1 lead. The 18th home run allowed by Bronson Arroyo. And Schumacher is thrilled to his toes. Ball 1 to Yasiel Puig. He's a delightful guy. Did a home run in Toronto, and now this one. 1-1 the count. They've just about committed, although Brandon Phillips is always moving around. But it looked like on that pitch they had loaded up the left side of the infield. That's a strike. Arroyo has not been able to get the first pitch for a strike, and he finally paid the price. Remember, he missed 1 ball and no strikes to Schumacher, who then took him downtown. Fastball flared to right field, and it's going to drop. Puig will hold on. Bruce throws back of him to Mesoraco, and they got him. Good play by Devin Mesoraco, the catcher, knowing that Puig likes to round first, and Bruce just hit Mesoraco, and they nailed him. Give credit to Bruce and Mesoraco. And for Puig, well, he learns another lesson, maybe. There's the big turn. He wants you to throw, but oops, he didn't expect the catcher to be there. So a heads-up play. So Puig, fly ball single, and he's promptly cut down. 9-2. There's Adrian Gonzalez. Fly deep to right. Fly to center. Have the fine play by Mesoraco. 0-2. Mesoraco is a rookie, and they have great words of praise for him. 0-2. Ryan Hannigan, of course, is a fella who did a lot of catching. He has a sore wrist. Devin Mesoraco from Punxsutawney, the home of the groundhog in the shadow and all that stuff. And that's probably stroked into right field. So that's what is frustrating for the Dodgers. I mean, they admire Puig and they love his spirit, but he hurts you. Instead of having runners at least first and second, They have 2 out. And they've had 3 singles and a home run in the inning. So Puig annoyed with himself. And the batter is Hanley Ramirez. Hanley is doubled, grounded out 1 for 2. Three runs, 7 hits for the Dodgers. 1 run, 2 hits for the Reds. The home run by Bruce and the triple by Heisey. And that's in for a strike. 0-1. So Arroyo, who has given up 46 home runs in 1 season, up jumps the devil, and it's 3-1 Dodgers. Whoops. 1-1 the count. Dodgers lead 3-1. Bottom of the 5th inning. Ground ball smothered by Cozart, gets it to Phillips, and they get the force play, and that's that. So the Dodgers get 3 singles and a home run for 2 and lead 3-1. In all my years in the game, was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and we breathed a sigh of relief and said, it's about time. Walter Francis O'Malley, the owner of the Dodgers, took over in the fall of 1950, so he was there for the heartbreak of 51, and he stayed as the owner and president of the Dodgers into 1979 when he died in August, and the reins then were in very good hands, his sons Peter and along with Terry. But I could not have been happier in 2008 when Walter O'Malley entered the Hall of Fame. God bless him. Let's go back to this one. That's a strike. Boy, when you think of what Walter O'Malley did, moving out here, playing in the Coliseum, having Dodger Stadium built, bringing the championships here, 59, 63, 65. Later on, 81, 88. I think for a while, Los Angeles, I think the county is 480 square miles. And like they said about Oakland, I'm sure there were times there was no there. here in Los Angeles County. But boy, there is a there tonight and all summer long called Dodger Stadium. And just take a look at the crowd. There is a there, and it's right here. The crowds for this series Thursday night, 53,275. Last night, 51,841. It's in the 50s tonight for sure, and maybe even tomorrow. If not, it'll be in the high 45s, I would think. Mr. Chu has walked, grounded out, and now his roommate strikes him out. And if you aren't with us, it bears repeating, I think. Years ago, Chu and Ryu roomed together. And since Ryu was the junior of the two, he had to do all the laundry. Well, he just sent Chu to the dry cleaners. One away, and that for Hyun-Jin Ryu, his 7th strikeout and 3 in a row. You can imagine how badly each player wants to do well, knowing it's on television back to Seoul. (3-1) Dodgers, 6th inning. 8 in a row retired by Ryu. That's pull foul. The last man to get aboard is the man at the plate, Chris Heisey, who tripled off the center field wall in the 3rd inning. And then Votto struck out and the inning was over. Oh, 0-2 to Chris Heisey. Got it. Just flipped that thing in there. That's 8 strikeouts and 4 consecutive strikeouts for Hyun-Jin Ryu. Ocho. And if you're Heisey, oucho.
First baseman, Joey Votto.
So he has struck out Cozart, Arroyo, Chu, and now Heisey. And the batter is Votto, who has grounded to short and struck out. Ball 1. Pitch count, he's now made 93 pitches. Joey 0 for 2, hitting .319. At that corner, 1-1. He walked Chu in the 1st inning. Outside of that, he has just shredded the strike zone. Two and 1. Dodgers 3 runs, 7 hits. Reds 1 run, 2 hits. Dodgers won last night 2-1. Breaking ball in there, 2-2. Bruce homered for the Reds for their only run. Hanley Ramirez doubled in the Dodger run. And then Skip Schumacher cleared the center field wall with Mark Ellis aboard to give the Dodgers the 3-1 lead. San Diego leading Arizona, so the Dodgers have a chance to increase their lead to a game and a half. Another nice inning. That's 10 in a row retired by Hyun-Jin Ryu. And at the end of 5.5, still 3-1 Dodgers. over the Reds as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Take a look around the National League West. San Diego holding on 9-3 over Arizona. 5 home runs in that game. 3 by the Padres. They're in the bottom of the 8th. Giants Cubs no score. 7th inning. Russin and Bumgarner. Milwaukee leading Colorado bottom of the 8th. They led, the Brewers did, 6-0. Now they're hanging on. Meanwhile, the Dodgers take a 3-1 lead. Zach Greinke and Clayton Kershaw, they will be the pitchers in that order against the Yankees. Greinke Tuesday night, Kershaw Wednesday night. Arroyo working on Ethier. Off speed, big slow curveball for a strike. You might have been a little surprised, we were too, when Schumacher hit that home run over the center field fence. However, the boys who know such things did some statistical digging. That's a strike. Turns out that Skip Schumacher has more hits against Arroyo, 19, than any other pitcher except Ryan Dempster with 22. Schumacher is hitting .373 against Arroyo. Ethier 0 for 1 with a walk. Slicing fly ball moving over his Heisey. 1 away. You know, Saturday, August the 10th, Dodgers honor the 1995 National League Rookie of the Year. Yes, Hideo Nomo bobblehead night. And the first 50,000 fans in attendance received their own Hideo Nomo bobblehead, celebrating his no-hitter in 1996. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotion. Hideo Nomo. Never forget watching him pitch a no-hitter in, of all places, Colorado, in the rain, where the mound was so slippery he was pitching out of the stretch from about the 2nd inning on. AJ grounded to first, grounded to third, 0 for 2, hitting .258. Slice down the right field line, out of play. When the Reds come up in the 7th inning, they'll have Brandon Phillips, followed by Jay Bruce, who has a home run, and then Todd Frazier. Well, you talk about, even though it might be grammatically incorrect, talk about a hitter waiting on a pitch. AJ really waited on that thing. You've heard about hitting it out of the catcher's mitt. He just did get a little bit. 1-2. And he probably bangs it into left center for a base hit. So A.J. Ellis, a 1-out single to center. And that will bring up Juan Uribe. Take another look at Ellis. Breaking ball. He went down and just stroked it. Was out of the strike zone. Then he gets a base hit. Uribe lined a single to center in the 2nd inning and hit a line drive right at Chris Heisey in left field in the 4th. And let's see. Dusty is coming out. He hasn't indicated yet if he's going to change pitcher. Now he does with his right hand. So for Bronson Arroyo, who had a remarkable record of following a Cincinnati defeat with a victory, he was 6-0, and they were hoping for number 7 tonight, but he couldn't quite do it. Alfredo Simon will be coming in from the Cincinnati bullpen, and Bronson comes out. We'll be back. 4 straight times. Comes out in 5 1/3 innings. Arroyo made 94 pitches, gave up 3 earned runs, and once again up jumped the devil to plague him, and that would be the home run. He gave up his 18th home run of the year to Skip Schumacher, and that pretty much took care of him. Also, he was up against Ryu, who's been absolutely magnificent. So now the boy from Santiago in the Dominican Republic, Alfredo Simon, originally signed by the Phillies back in 1999. Spent 4 years with the Orioles, never did play for Philadelphia. Ellis at first. Uribe likes that first pitch if it's around the plate. Yep. 0-1. One thing about Alfredo Simon, you think he must have loved baseball. Actually, as a youngster, he was a ball boy at a tennis club, and he learned to play tennis and got pretty good, but eventually decided to play baseball. He is the player to be named later. Ground ball. It is a foul ball. The plate umpire called it foul. The third base umpire apparently couldn't see it. Alfonso Marquez was blocked by Frazier, so it was Ted Barrett indicated foul. When I say player to be named later, at the start of the 2003 season, there was a player named Carlos Cabrera, and he turned out not to be named Carlos Cabrera. He was still in the Dominican Republic having visa problems. It ends up it's really Alfredo Simon, and he finally got to the United States. Because that happens a lot, especially in the Dominican. They'll pick another name, maybe a relative who's younger, and try to get over here and play under a young age or younger. He's 32. 0-2. Slider, ball 1. 1-2. Pretty good fastball that Simon has. Then the slider, curve, change. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fastball. Simon is 6'6", 230 pounds. 6'6", standing on a 10-inch mound. Fouled away. Uribe followed by Mark Ellis. So far, the pitching performance of Hyun-Jin Ryu has been remarkable. He's retired 10 in a row. He has struck out 8. He walked his countryman Chu leading off the game in the first inning. The only walk he's given up. So he's been special. And ball 3 to Uribe.
Everybody clap your hands.
Waiting on deck, Mark Ellis. Three and 2, 1 out. We'll see what they do with A.J. Ellis. He goes, and that probably hit in the air. Here comes Chu and makes that sliding catch. Now A.J. hurrying back to first. So Mr. Chu makes a big play out there in center field. Runner going. Here comes Chu. Sliding catch, comes right up and throws. A.J. just did get back. He caught it clean as a whistle. So Uribe loses a base hit. Mark Ellis hit into a double play and single. Chu has to be pretty frustrated out there in center field. 0 for 6. In the first game, he did have 2 for 5, so he's 2 for 11. He was embarrassed on the base paths when he lost sight of a Votto single the other night, and the Dodgers, Ramirez and Schumacher, had him totally confused as to where the ball was. 0-1. He knows it's being televised back to Korea, so he'll certainly try to give it something extra. 0-1. Fastball. So after looking at Arroyo's fastball that was 87 most of the night, I think once he was 88, they bring in Simon who throws 95. Back in 2008, Simon actually signed with the Dodger organization. And eventually he was purchased by the Orioles. Alfredo Simon. Phillips, Bruce, and Frazier coming up in the 7th. We mentioned the Dodgers won last night 2-1. They beat Cincinnati 4 times last year. 3 of the 4 wins, they stopped Cincinnati with only 1 run. So they're trying to do it again tonight. And down goes Mark. So the key was that nice play by Chu in center field. No runs to hit a man left. And at the end it's 6. 3-1 Dodgers. Twitter poll question: will there ever be a major league team outside the United States and Canada? And the heavy vote went no. 63%. Well, we do appreciate you participating in the poll. Kind of fun to read your mind and find out how you feel about things. 63% no. All right. Meanwhile, Rio's been saying no for 6 innings. He's retired 10 in a row, struck out 8, walked 1, and allowed only 2 hits. The home run by Jay Bruce and the triple by Chris Heisey. Now in the 7th inning, he'll be facing Brandon Phillips, followed by Jay Bruce, and then Todd Frazier. Dodgers have done a good job of shutting down a very good player. Brandon Phillips, 1 for 8 in the series. Phillips, one of those fellows who is extremely productive with men on base. And ball one. Brandon Phillips normally does very well with the bat here at Dodger Stadium. At one stage last year, he was hitting .390 here. This year, he was hitting about .360 in the first couple of games, but they take care of him one away. How did the Reds get their run? It came quickly. One swing of the bat in the second inning by Jay Bruce. A fastball out over the plate. Bingo. That's the only run. Only had 2 base runners, Bruce, who touched them all, and Heisey, who touched 3 of them. So 11 in a row retired by Ryu, who has made exactly 100 pitches. It took Bruce 19 games this year to hit his first home run, and he still had 1 home run after 34 games. Now he has 22 home runs, 73 runs batted in. 1-1. Pulled on the ground, but right to Gonzalez. The Rio is now retired, 12 in a row, and the batter is Todd Frazier. Todd from Point Pleasant, New Jersey. First round pick, went to school at Rutgers University. He was the one when he was 12 years old. He was the outstanding player in the '98 Little League World Series as the Toms River, New Jersey team defeated Japan in the Little League World Series. He struck out the last guy, and quite a thrill for the 12-year-olds. That's ball one. Todd, 27 years old. First round pick. Took him a while. Signed in '07. Finally made it to the Reds briefly. Played briefly with them last year, and now a fixture. Fouled away off to the right. Ryu, a nice easy 91 on that fastball. In the bullpen, Belisario throwing a couple of pitches, but more interested to see what Ryu's doing. 2-2. So far, Ryu has induced 11 ground balls. He has 8 strikeouts and only 1 ball hit to the outfield. That was a fly ball by Phillips to Andre Ethier in the 4th inning. That's all. 3-2 to Frazier. There's Rocco, the catcher, waiting on deck. Shaking him off a couple of times. And with the big overhand curveball. Oh, what a pitch. No wonder he shook off Ellis 3 times. They come back with that one. 9 strikeouts for Ryu. He's retired 13 in a row, and the Dodgers lead 3-1.
There's a lot of good nights now to Hyun-Jin Ryu. After 7 magnificent innings, he got 13 in a row, struck out 9, walked 1, a remarkable performance, and retired 13 in a row. They're going to send up Jerry Hairston to bat for him and then hope the bullpen could get him a victory. But boy, he was really something tonight. A little extra perhaps, knowing the game was televised starting at 10 o'clock in the morning in Seoul, Korea. Magnificent. As good a game as we've ever seen him pitch. So here comes Hairston. Ryu wound up making 109 pitches. Ball 1 to Jerry. Just to really examine Ryu. Not only 9 strikeouts, 13 in a row, 2 hits and 1 run. He had 7 3-ball counts. He only walked 1. And with 7 3-ball counts, the Reds went 1 for 6. The only one was the 3-2 pitch to Chu beginning the ball game. So really remarkable. Hairston trying to get something started, hitting .254. 1-2. Hairston, who plays third and occasionally in left field. He is 4 for 19. He's been the #1 pinch hitter. 4 for 19 with 1 run batted in. He'll be followed by Skip Schumacher. High fly ball. Bruce is there. 1 out. So Skip Schumacher, who shocked a lot of people, and maybe not Bronson Arroyo, when he hit that home run over the center field fence. It seemed to shock everybody until you realize that Schumacher has hit very well against Arroyo. 19 hits and a .373 batting average against the big right-hander. Fly to left after just missing an extra base hit in the first inning. He drilled one down the first baseline, just went foul. Next time up struck out, and the next time up the home run. The difference really in the game. And now he drives one into left center. That's a base hit. Over to get it is Heisey. Chu is on his way for 2, and Chu makes 2. So Skip Schumacher comes up with his second extra base hit. Hit a breaking ball and just slapped it out there, and a double to left center field. So now Yasiel Puig coming up. Yasiel Puig, a story all by himself. Walked in the first inning, took second on a long fly ball to right, stole third, and came home on a double by Ramirez. Single to left in the third inning. Single to right in the fifth inning. Made that big turn as if he was going to go to second. He dared Bruce to throw behind him, and I think Yasiel forgot, because Bruce let it fly, and there was Devin Mesoraco, the catcher, right there to handle it and nail him trying to get back to the bag. Good play by the catcher along with Bruce. 1 ball and 1 strike. Puig hitting .377. One ball and 1 strike. Remember how Arroyo hung over the plate? Look where Puig is. Fastball, high chopper that goes foul. Here's the play at first. Puig is going to get a base hit to right field, round the bag, and forgot. There's Mesoraco waiting for him. Chapter 3 in his Major League education. Good play by Bruce. Wonderful play by Mesoraco. I'm sure they talked it over after watching Puig make the big turn that embarrassed Chu in the first game. Said, what do we do about it? Well, we'll have the catcher trailing. Breaking ball, whacked in the air. It's not going anywhere except into Heisey's glove. I think we have a lot of people here today who have not been to a game in a long time. The reason I say that, it reminds me of the early days in Milwaukee. Any ball that the Dodgers hit in the air, the crowd immediately explodes. Even very ordinary fly balls, but they are pumped. They are enjoying every minute of it. We'll give you the attendance as soon as we get it. In Milwaukee, those first few games, if a Dodger hit a ball for a home run, it would be stony silence. And if a Brave would hit a pop fly, they'd go wild. The old story about seeing it with your heart instead of your eyes. Here's Adrian. Fly deep to right, fly to center, single to right. Hitting .301. 2 out, 7th inning, 3-1 Dodgers. Schumacher with a double at second base. Adrian trying to pick him up. And grounds it by the diving Phillips. That means a run. Chu is going to throw uselessly. Adrian is going to be out at second base, and that's that. But the run is in. Chu had no chance to get Schumacher. But come to think of it, Adrian didn't have much of a chance to get to second. And the Dodgers lead 4-1. Low yearly prices. Watch every out-of-market game live on over 350 supported mobile and connected devices in HD with MLB.TV Premium. So visit MLB.TV today. Baseball everywhere. Well, with the Dodgers picking up an extra run, they now lead 4-1. And we go to the 8th inning. Ronald Belisario has a tough act to follow. A brilliant 7 innings turned in by Hyun-Jin Ryu. So Belisario coming in with a 4-5 record. 50 games or more, 4 years in a row in the major league, and has to hold on to the 4-1 lead.
Catcher, Devin Mesoraco.
Devin Mesoraco, the shortstop, twice grounded to short. So the young catcher 0 for 2. Followed by Cozart, and then we'll see about Simon's spot. Fastball foul back. We now get the attendance, and it's a big one. 52,675. That makes the 14th sellout and 3 straight sellouts against the Reds. Tomorrow, the concluding game at 1:10. There are seats for tomorrow's game. Little nubber, Belisario, plenty of time on the way. So that's 14 in a row retired by Ryu, and now Belisario gets one. In the Dodger bullpen, just in case, Paco Rodriguez begins to loosen up. Hozart has to be glad Ryu's out of the game. Not only 0 for 2, he has struck out twice. Ball 1. Xavier Paul is out on deck. Former Dodger. Had a chance to visit with him before the game. Very nice fella. And ball 2. We were asking Xavier about why you changed the pronunciation. For the years he was with the Dodgers, he was always Xavier Paul. He said, I just like Xavier. But hey, we aim to please, whatever you want. I was telling him about 2 players years ago. One was a pitcher named John Buzzhart, and he pitched for several years, known as John Buzzhart. And then one day he decided, I'd like to be called Bizarre. So he became John Bizarre. Little nubber. Belisario has handled 2 of them. 15 Reds have bitten the dust. Xavier Paul coming up. There was also a pitcher whose last name was Veal, V-E-A-L-E, and he was Bob Veal. But there was another Veal, I think it was an outfielder named Veal.
Your attention, please.
So the pitcher said, from now on, I would like to be called Vealy. So he became Vealy. So here comes Xavier. And meanwhile, Don Mattingly going out. And let's see, going to bring in Paco Rodriguez to face Xavier Paul. A grin on Belisario's face. He's being replaced after hitting 2 dribblers that he fielded and threw the hitter out. And they'll bring in Paco to try and take care of Paul. And we'll be right back. 2 out in the top of the 8th inning. We can also tell you San Diego ripped Arizona 12-3, so the Dodgers could go to bed tonight a game and a half in front. Tomorrow in that San Diego Arizona series, Tyler Ross and Patrick Corbin. Now remember, Corbin is 12-1. And while we're talking about remarkable records, Max Scherzer of Detroit is now 15-1 after tonight. And of course, at one time, Max was with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Wouldn't they love to have him back? Well, here's Paco against Xavier Paul. Young left-hand batter out of Slidell, Louisiana, lives in New Orleans. Originally drafted in the 4th round by the Dodgers. Big curveball for a strike. You know, when they begin to learn pitching, they always talk about trying to hide the ball as much as possible and then deliver it to the hitter. Paco shows you the ball when he extends that left arm. Remarkable. I mean, you can see his pitch all the way back there. Another breaking ball, dribbled to third. Boy, 2 dribblers up along first by Belisario to field. Now this one, a little one down, and the 8th inning is in the books, and it's 4-1 Dodgers. Look at the 3rd Cincinnati pitcher. This would be Logan Andrusek. Logan, a very big guy, is 6'8", 220, 28 years old, out of Hallettsville, Texas, and moved to Shiner, Texas. You put those 2 towns together, they're between Houston and San Antonio, and the combined population of the two would be about 4,500. You imagine how kids come from that kind of a background and they walk in to pitch in a big league ballpark like tonight with 52,000, but they learn quickly. He was drafted by the Reds out of junior college in 2005. So Andrusek ready to work after Rodriguez made 2 pitches and Belisario made 6. And here's Hanley. Double, grounded out, hit into a force play. His double drove in a run in the 1st inning. Dodgers scored in the 1st. Bruce homered to tie it up for Cincinnati in the 2nd. And since then, the Reds have been completely shut down. They only have 2 hits. The other hit was a triple by Chris Heisey with 2 out in the 3rd, and they've not done anything since. The last 16 in a row have been sat down. Ryu retired 13 in a row. Belisario got 2 in a row to make it 15. And then Rodriguez got Paul to make it 16. 1-2. If you're not keeping score and you wonder about the Reds in the 9th inning, they could pose a problem. It will be Chu, Heisey, and Votto, and if anybody gets on, Phillips. In the Dodger bullpen, Kenley Jansen tuning up. Hanley looked to be very fooled on that pitch. 1 out.
Center fielder,
Take a
number
look.
16,
Up in there.
Ethier.
Might have been out of the strike zone, and he actually got a little bit of it. 0-1. And Brusick, a fastball that's occasionally been clocked up around 95, 96. Off speed for a strike, good changeup. He has a slider, the cutter, and that change. He learned to throw a cutter by a name that will forever be linked with the Dodgers. A Cincinnati pitcher, a left-hander by the name of Tom Browning. What about Tom Browning? Pitched a perfect game against the Dodgers in Cincinnati. 1 ball, 1 strike. One and 2. Andre Ethier walked, grounded out, fly to left. Struggling. He was so hot coming out of Toronto where he had 8 hits. Now 0 for 9. Make it 0 for 10. And so it goes in the life of a ball player. You might as well be an elevator operator, the ups and downs of the game.
A.J. Ellis.
So 2 out, and Brusick strikes out Ramirez and Ethier. And here is A.J. Ellis. Grounded out twice, single to center. Four runs, 10 hits for the Dodgers, 1 run, 2 hits for the Reds. Fastball strike. It will be amazing if the score doesn't change. We mentioned it, I think, twice now in 9 innings. Last year, the Dodgers beat the Reds 4 times. 3 of the 4 wins, they held the Reds to 1 run each game. They held the Reds last night to 1 run to win 2-1. And here they are holding the Reds to 1 run tonight. Got a big lift from Clayton Kershaw. And now Ryu turned in another tremendous effort. Final game of the 4-game series tomorrow. Tony Cingrani will go up against Chris Capuano. Dodgers will see Cincinnati for the last time starting on the 6th of September. A weekend series. Mile high fly ball. Bruce is going to call. Chu comes over and he's the captain, and Chu makes the catch. So the Dodgers go quickly, and we are heading for the 9th. Kenley Jansen will be coming in. 4-1 Dodgers. Today is the 60th anniversary of the end of the war in Korea. It began in June of 1950 and it ended July 27, 1953. And it seems so ironic that on this day of all days, two young men from South Korea, one for Cincinnati, one for Hanjin Ryu, not only go against each other, they were roommates back in Korea, playing in the Asian Games and also in the World Baseball Cup. And so far, Chu walked in the first inning, the only walk that Ryu gave up. Chu grounded out in the third, and then he struck out in the sixth. So he struggled 0 for 2. Ryu, we don't know the Korean word for brilliant, but it certainly applies. 9 strikeouts for Hanjin. Another thing, Ryu's name in Korean means willow tree. Chu means autumn or fall. And you immediately wonder about these two teams, highly talented. It is not too inconceivable that they would face each other in the autumn or the fall. So Kenley Jansen will face Chu, Heisey, and Votto. Kenley, strong last night, 15 pitches, faced only 3 batters and struck out 2 of them. And a strike. Shin-Soo Choo, 0 for 2, 2 for 11 in the series. 0-1. That's off the plate. One and one. Shin-Soo Choo. Shies, but it's a strike. He's not happy about it. Chu is 5'11", 210. He'll be 31 on the 30th. From Busan, a very, very, very vital city on the Busan Peninsula during that war. And a hopper, backhanded, long throw on the money. Wonderful play. You know, that's the thing. Everybody talks about Ramirez and how well he is hitting, and that's true. But boy, he is playing a dandy shortstop. That's a tough play. Chu runs well, and you're on the grass, and it's right there. 1 down. That also means 17 Reds in a row have been retired. 17. Trickler, and they're going to let it roll, and it peeled off foul at the last moment. So they'll have to send Heisey back. Chris sacrificed in the first inning, tripled in the third, and struck out. Here's when you rebases, let it roll, and take it out of there. So Chris coming back. On deck, Joey Votto. 17 in a row. Wow. Oh, and 2. Tomorrow afternoon at 1:10, they tell me there still are tickets for tomorrow's game. Tony Cingrani and Chris Capuano. Monday an off day, and the Yankees here Tuesday and Wednesday night, and the Dodgers with Greinke on Tuesday, Kershaw on Wednesday. Boy, he let one fly at 94. 1 and 2. Kenley Jansen with the remarkable numbers. He might be 3 and 3. 9 walks, 72 strikeouts. Curveball. Go 8-1. 52,675 here tonight. 14th sellout of the year. And 3 in a row. Fastball popped into shallow right. Puig is coming to put it away. 18 in a row. A reminder, Dodgers Live coming up right after the game. So Joey Votto, who was grounded to short, struck out and grounded to second, 0 for 3, checking in. Joey hitting .318, 3 for 11 in the series. Reds have had 3 base runners, Chu, who walked in the first inning, Bruce, who homered in the second, and Heisey, who tripled in the third. They have not been heard from since the third inning. And there they are, 2 out in the 9th, and again with just 1 run. Joey, 16 home runs, 47 runs batted in. And a high fly ball, they saw to do it. Wow. So 5 of the last victories for the Dodgers against Cincinnati. In those 5 victories, the Dodgers have held the Reds to 1 run. 3 times last year and 2 of the first 3 this year. And tomorrow it'll be Capuano and Cingrani. A pretty tough act to follow. A magnificent, there's no other word to say for it, from Hyun-Jin Ryu. 7 innings, 1 run, 2 hits, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. And while he was in there, he retired 15 in a row. Hanley Ramirez knocked in the first run, and then Skip Schumacher had the big swing as he hit a 2-run home run against Bronson Arroyo. That gave the Dodgers a 3-1 lead. And then they added 1 more on a Schumacher double and a single by Gonzalez. And they win going away. 4-10-0, 1-2-0. By the way, Jansen made only 11 pitches. Stay tuned for Dodgers Live. It's coming up next. Good evening, everybody.